By popular demand, here is my review of the Enthoo Pro, the second case from Phanteks. The Jazz Mini phone and tablet stand from Cooler Master is now available in a variety of cool colors from these great retailers. Click now to learn more. Honestly, we got off to a bit of a rough start with the Enthoo Pro. The foam packing material in the box arrived broken, and it is some of the worst that I've ever seen. My case wasn't damaged, but if you're ordering a system from somewhere, I wouldn't even consider getting it pre-built in the Enthoo Pro. With the extra weight of the other components, there's a very good chance it'll arrive damaged. Packaging is important, and Phanteks' inattention to it reveals their inexperience as a case manufacturer. Which leads us to the case itself. The inexperience doesn't show here at all. The Enthoo Pro has a look about it that somehow manages to be subtle and elegant and yet scream performance. This is of course very subjective, but I think the case looks fantastic. The brushed finish looks metal from many angles, even though it's thankfully easy to clean plastic, and it just is really, really nice. And I don't know what it is exactly, but the case is somehow subtle and elegant, but also aggressive and imposing, and even though it's a mid-tower, it just looks more impressive than its size would normally allow. I feel like we're kindred spirits that way. Let's move on to the features though. The front has 3 5¼ inch bays with a fourth spot that appears to be one, but is actually the cover for the fairly standard front I/O. Further down, we've got the included 200mm front fan with options for dual 120 or 140mm mounts, covered by a classy looking mesh with diagonal slits on each side to help the front fans draw in additional air. One quirk I noticed here is that while the mesh is filtered, the side intakes are not, so you can expect some dust to get into the case here. Speaking of dust filters though, you get lots of them. Aside from the one in the front, there are 2 on the bottom, a short one at the back for the power supply intake, and a long one at the front for the 2 optional bottom mounted fans or radiator mount there, and then a large one built into the classically styled top bezel behind the power button. Removing the top reveals the meat and potatoes of the radiator mounting options. You can put up to a triple 120 or triple 140 up here to go along with the other available radiator mounting points that can be accessed by removing various internal pieces, and because the rear fan uses mounting slots instead of holes, you can make room to put your barbs in the rear to salvage more of your 5¼ inch bays, so you can put, I don't know, things that are more useful than optical drives. They're praise be to Gabe N for creating steam. Anyway, finishing up our external tour, the rear features 8 PCI expansion slots and a tube reservoir mount for the liquid cooling folks, and the sides feature, well, nothing on the right, and an unusual dual window design on the left that I find quite attractive. I do have an issue with the window though. This case is brand new and has only been built in once, and we've been as careful with it as we can be, but the quality of the acrylic here is so poor that it basically looks like it belongs to a 2-year-old case. Yeah. Now, the astute among you may have noticed that a while ago I said that you can remove some stuff to make more room for radiators. Well, you can also remove either of the triple bay hard drive / SSD cages if you want, but that's not all you can do. The Enthoo Pro's internals are held together primarily with screws rather than rivets. So for example, let's take a couple of the other great features of this case, like the stealth cover over the drive bays, or the stealth cover with cable management over the power supply. Pull out a few screws, and all that biz comes right out. This design approach is more expensive, but gives owners who want to mod or paint their towers a ton of flexibility. Big props to Phanteks there. Finishing up the motherboard side of the internals, well, I mean, wow, there's not much to say. The cable management holes are mostly filled with grommets and intelligently positioned for things like the front panel audio connector, 24-pin connector, and even common fan header locations. And there's ample space between the radiator and the motherboard to access connectors like the 8-pin even after the rad is installed. It's surprisingly easy to work in for a mid-tower. On the back side, there's actually more to talk about. There's the reasonably well-constructed wing-locking 3.5-inch drive rail system. There's the large CPU cutout for easy cooler installation. There's the ample cable management room at the bottom for stashing stuff. There's the well-placed and numerous included Velcro cable management straps all over the back. There's the SSD bracket mountable here or here that maintains adequate spacing to not strain your connectors and has screw holes, but we found actually works just fine as a friction mount. And finally, there's the 6-channel fan controller. That runs up to the CPU fan header on your board and can be used to power up to 6 fans. Just make sure to consult the manual for instructions on when to use the SATA power connector versus when to not use it. Actually, the surprisingly well-written manual is part of an excellent overall accessory package that also includes an optional reservoir mount that can screw onto the hard drive cages, some more cable management stuff, and their awesome little toolbox that holds all the screws you need for your case in handy little compartments. And with that, I think we're done here. So what can I say as a conclusion for the Enthoo Pro? I mean, I guess I could give it like an award or something, but we don't really do that. So instead, I'm gonna say this. Phanteks, it's time to update your website, son, because y'all make CPU coolers, fans, and cases now. Welcome to the big league. Any gamer or enthusiast with a $100 budget for a new case should basically pick up an Enthoo Pro. And I'd go as far as to say that even if your budget is closer to $129 to $149, you should still take a long, hard look at it. It's not perfect, but it's really, really good, and I'm excited to see what they do next. Guys, like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. There's a link for pricing and where to buy for this product in the video description, as always, and always also in the video description. There is a support link where you can give us a monthly contribution, you can buy a cool t-shirt like this one, and you can change your Amazon bookmark to one with our affiliate code, so every time you buy, like, boots, we get a small kickback, which is great. It helps us stay running over here. Thanks again for watching, and as always, don't forget to subscribe.